Today's breakdown video from round 2 at Hangtown for the Pro Motocross Championship. I asked the question, how many 250 guys are scared of Degan? Yes, and we will also go over the exceptional body positioning and breakdown choices from some of the top riders like Tomac and Jett. So if you learned something from this video, make sure you like it, you hit that subscribe button, the algorithm loves it, and stick around till the end. So let's start with Deegs here. And this is just an example of what I saw. You've got Tom Vial, who is a world champion in the 250 class. And then you have Degan, who's also technically a world champion as well. But I digress. Here on this massive hit at Hangtown, you have Degan, who is on the inside, but you would think that Tom could probably push it in and make sure that he doesn't give up the line. But Degan just holds it wide. Tom gives up the position. I saw that happen to many different guys. Not to mention, Degan isn't that aggressive of a guy where he's not dirty aggressive. He's aggressive, but he doesn't really push people out of the way to just knock them down. I mean, he will in certain cases with guys like Joe and Supercross and other instances, but his speed on the outsides, and we will talk about this somewhat in depth. If we watch this, how he enters, okay, first off, what he's doing is the guys on the inside are braking, okay, this is Hymas. He's braking early. Degan is going to accelerate into the corner. He's going to stay in that attack position. Notice how far back his butt is on the rear fender, and notice that his feet and his toes are on top of the foot pegs. He is not braking, but he's not sitting down. He's not sitting down until he's ready to accelerate. So here he goes, sits down. Now he's ready to accelerate. And from there, he is going to slingshot out. And that is where he's going to get all the drive to pass his competitors. And there is another example in multiple corners. Before the rollers, same deal. Doesn't sit down until it is time to accelerate. So he's diving deep into the corner. He's not braking early. So when we watch him, he's accelerating all the way till the end. And then it's a small break, but then he's coasting. He's standing on there. Like, look at this, okay? His body positioning, he is counterweighting the motorcycle. He's weighting that outside foot peg, but he's still standing up. If you notice, yeah, his elbow's not really high up, but he is on top of the motorcycle. He is not leaned over with the motorcycle. He's entering with so much speed that he's having to ride on top of the bike, where, again, if you've seen it in my videos, you know that when you're weighting that outside peg, you've got that ass crap on the seam of the seat, but he is standing up. And then if we go a little bit further down, then he sits down, and he's already on top of that motorcycle weighting that outside peg. Just beautifully executed by the defending champion. And there is another example, just slingshots around guys. Okay, and oh, I love this line by Degan. It looked like it was going to be a mistake, but it was intentional. Okay, there is so many braking bumps here, and I wish it was a little bit more high def. I mean, now we're coming out with 8K stuff, but I'm digressing yet again. We can see the trajectory of Degan, where he is going to go essentially off the track. You can see him hitting the corner markers, okay? He's going around all the deep braking bumps just to keep his momentum up. Yes, it is going a little bit further and riding more surface area. However, if it's smoother, that's where we want to go. This is something I see a lot from Jett when I watch him ride. And if you listen to my podcast, I talked a lot about how Degan has a riding style a little bit more like Tomac, where he's clutching it and he's just riding the dog piss out of the motorcycle. But I find myself retracting my statement just a little bit because it's more of like a hybrid riding style, because what I see him doing stuff like this. Here he's accelerating to the outside, attacking, but he's just briefly trail braking under power, okay? And then he moves that foot over, out. Okay, right here. Then he moves that rear brake foot to underneath it so that he can accelerate. So truthfully, he was wide open around this entire outside. He loved the outsides. Okay, but he wasn't braking. So and once again, coming across the start, I see him do the same thing where he's accelerating into the corner, trail braking, and then just hauling butt. And he was able to get around multiple guys there. I want to thank Bear Mattress for sponsoring this video. I have an exclusive 40% off offer for my viewers. If you head over to bearmattress.com/JohnnyHopper, that is the code. The link will also be in the description as well. If you guys are interested in improving your quality of life and upgrading your sleep, Bear Mattress has you covered. This is a mattress that keeps you cool. It's premium. There is no fiberglass in it whatsoever. And as a athlete, a triathlete, a motocrosser, I know that recovery is crucial for improving performance and just honestly, just your life, your everyday, day to day. You got to have good sleep. And I've had this guy for about 2 weeks, and using data acquisition, I've noticed that my deep sleep has improved. The hours that I'm actually staying asleep have improved. And from my coach, I know that during deep sleep, you release 2 crucial hormones, your human growth hormone and your testosterone, which is essential for us males to just have a steady state. And so this guy has definitely helped. They use a unique quiz to match your sleep preferences with your mattress. And these guys used that quiz to have the Elite Hybrid. And it's simple. You just go to their website, you put in a few data points as far as, do you sleep with a partner? How much do you guys weigh? Do you like soft, medium, firm mattresses? How big do you want it? And they're gonna give you a unique mattress for you guys. And you have a 120-day trial. If you don't like it, you can send it back. They ship it to you in the United States for free. They have a limited lifetime warranty. And I know that if I love this mattress and it has helped me out as much, that it's going to do the same for you. So make sure you head over to bearmattress.com/JohnnyHopper. If I switch gears just a tad bit to listen to Tomac.
Look at Tomac on the inside.
Here, if you listen closely, to me it sounds like he's double clutching, okay? He's attacking the inside. Okay, you have Cooper on the outside doing some more trail braking. He's dragging the rear brake. But Tomac, he's accelerating into the inside, dumps the clutch, okay, blows up the berm, bike comes undone. And then what does he do? He's got that front wheel out of the line. He's basically drifting around the corner, and he's having a get that clutch real hot. And does it slow him down, but does it speed him up? Yes, it keeps the RPMs up, but also it is detrimental to the motorcycle, right? I'm guessing their mechanics have to rebuild stuff quite often, which I know they do on all the motorcycles, but he's just real hard on stuff, right? He's one of the only guys that I can think of that can ride a 450 to pretty much its potential. I bet riding Tomac's bike, it's like arm pump city because of how fast it is. And then what does he do? He makes it faster by just always keeping it in this just turbo mode where he's got so much low end torque by rah. But here, we'll listen to this again as he comes into this corner.
Look at Tomac on the inside.
Okay, to me, that's what I see from Tomac, is blowing up corners and just overriding the track because the track can't keep up with him. And we'll go back and forth between Jett and Tomac. I love this line by Jett, okay? Jett comes out of here and quads, which a lot of the guys were doing. But that was still a pretty sweet quad that they have. He was the only rider I saw successfully, smoothly, then triple into the corner and still be able to make the inside. Yeah, he cased it, but that's most of the braking is done right there. When you case it, boom, the braking is done for you, because it's slowing you down right there. You hit a small little wall, and all the inertia is impacted into this last landing roller here. So we'll watch that again from him, just triples, where Cooper decides to go double and single, which is safe. But you have arguably the fastest motocross rider in the world right now, Jett, go quad, then boop, little case. And look at how much time he made up on Justin Cooper just by doing that. And through the second set of rollers, him just keep that front end so light. And look at what he's trying to do. He's trying to soak up this launch of this double going up the hill. Look at how much lower he stays. The amount of scrub action without actually scrubbing, like this is just a straight up soak. This is what I saw at round 1 with a Sexton. This should have sent him over the bars. But because of his fitness and his finesse and just raw talent, he's able to, on the fly, just lean way back and soak that bike up. And all the inertia then goes through his knees and into his body, and it's not kicking him forward. Do you see how that motorcycle just soaks that up? And as opposed to hitting his butt and then making him endo, the bike stays stable. That was incredibly impressive. Okay, I don't even know why he decided to try to wheelie over this launch. If he would have gotten the front wheel over the lip, it probably would have been a different story. But I don't think that was his prerogative. I believe he was just trying to soak it up. So he's lands the front wheel right where it should be at the top and is able to soak that up. Where his counterpart that he's chasing is 3 feet higher than him. So fast by Jett. All right, moving to Tomac's beast mode, which got delayed because of his crash, which we will go over as well. This is coming across the start. Watch what he does. He's going from the inside, okay? He shifts up, and then he's actually off the track, okay? He jumps off the track, which I loved because it just was smooth, okay? He's getting around some of these ruts and some of these big bumps, and then he gets back on the track, and he jumps over the braking bumps, and then jumps into the corner, smacks the berm, comes up, then he's going outside in, hits another berm so that he can be wide open up this entire thing as opposed to slipping around. But notice where his hips are, again on the motorcycle. He is on top of the motorcycle where that ass crack is on the seam of the outside of the seat. Okay, that is important, especially when it's slippery. That's what you have to do is you have to ride on top of the motorcycle so it doesn't get away from you. There's so much traction, you can get away with both your asses, your cheeks being in the middle, right? That ass crack being in the middle of the seat, okay? Where you don't need to be so much on top of the motorcycle like it is right here. But he's able to accelerate and be wide open even with that scoop tire, okay? Hits the berm, brop, then comes out here, and then this next corner, I thought like, okay, first off, let's watch him as he's braking coming down here. You can see his heels, right? He is diving down into the floor with his heels. Yes, it helps with some of the ruts, and also what it does is it keeps that front end light, especially when you're going downhill, which is how you're supposed to go downhill if you're not scared to go WFO down a hill with massive braking bumps as he's jumping down here, jumping off of some braking bumps. But watch as he comes into this next rut, just accelerating, dives deep, does a little bit of what Degan was doing where he doesn't sit down until he's ready to accelerate, but Tomac's ready to accelerate almost immediately. And if we watch, he briefly lifts that inside leg out, getting ready to extend, but not completely extended. He's letting the foot peg fold underneath him, which is just mind-blowing to me, the stability of these guys. But again, there it is with his placement of where he is weighting the outside peg. And we all know where his ass is on the seat. Okay. Beautifully. And then he's basically at the exit of the corner before he decides to stick that leg completely out because you're going, okay, the range of motion here is I'm going to have to hit my elbow and have it go off the handlebar if I'm just going to lift it just briefly enough. But if we back up, okay, he moved it. And until it gets too deep, that's when he extends, which just mind-boggling to me, the skill set of these guys. And then at the end, he ends up hitting it too fast and, dabs his foot, okay? Truthfully, I think this has a little bit to do with that rear tire. Depending on whatever compound it is, that scoop tire is not meant for a dry track like this, but these guys want to ride them all the time, okay? But here, watch this in real time as he comes into this corner. This was like a beautiful corner until the exit. Boom! Just blows it up, and there we go. And yes, we have to go over the crash here, okay? What happened? Well, if I'm looking at this and I'm analyzing it, he's doing the Southwick. Let's jump off some of the rollers, okay, in there. And right here, okay, that rear wheel is not in the rut to hold him for how fast he's going. So it first slides, and I believe it slides because if you look at the scoop tires, they don't have knobbies on the outsides of them. So there's no grip there. Again, it's not meant for a dry, hard pack, loamy little dirt on top of blue groove type deal. I know they added some sand here, but you know, that's the track crew getting the track ready for the National. But the real thing that happened here is the tire gave out, okay? If we watch that rear tire, we're watching the rear tire, it slides out here, and that causes the cascade, okay? Tire slides, breaks loose, okay? It falls into that rut now and blows up the little berm there. Front wheel is off the ground because of it, and Tomac turns. Front wheel's not straight. You don't have any tire walls on the outside to keep him up. Boom. He goes down, okay? I believe it was 100% the tire choice that these guys were using that caused this accident, which ended his streak of winning the first moto to potentially winning the overall, potentially. However, after he got up, I love this wheel tap. Oh, it just Supercross wheel tap in the motocross at Hangtown up the hill, comes up here, keeps that front wheel light, boom, just gets over it, okay? And then he continues to do the quad and the triple coming into the next corner just like Jett did. I would say not as accurate or as fast as Jett, smooth, but still rather. And finally, watching Jett, how he rides the motorcycle, it's so laid back. And here he is coming across the finish line. Notice how he lands. He is not on that rear brake. He lands coasting, okay, which is essential to just him keeping up his momentum. His whole thing is to have a torquey motorcycle, but just float the revs at the low RPMs where it's just raw, but he's got enough torque and power there, but it's important for him to keep the momentum up. Okay, no rear brake around the entire corner. Then he's coming in here and he's doing the same thing. Bounce, bounce, bounce. No brakes. A little bit of coast. Then starts accelerating. Shifts up. Comes to the outside to get around all the big gnarly braking bumps. But the important thing is, and he jumps into the corner here, is he is the guy that uses brakes only when he needs to. I know it sounds stupid, but more often than not, I see this guy somewhat coasting, keeping the little bit of throttle, then braking hard, where you see other guys braking really hard, where we see Degan at the beginning of this video, where he's braking, but then he's just wide open, dragging that rear brake. And then we see Tomac, where he's double clutching a lot. Where you see Jett, where I believe he's making up a lot of time, is he's keeping the RPMs low, and he's keeping that momentum up, as opposed to coming into a corner, going from 45 miles an hour down to 35. He's coming in at 39, and then he's accelerating around the whole corner at 38, and he's just averaging a faster speed than most of the other riders. Maybe it would be more of like a 42 compared to 45. But that's what I have for today's video. Again, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and as always, keep it WFO. Bra-da-da-da-da-da.